up on your EPFA news today. We chat to the star of the recent Sanremo Festival in Italy. We hear from another of our popular officials with the whistle. We hear about the EPFA Twinning Initiative and meet the first twinned clubs. Another Scottish player gives us his background of his power chair football journey. And we have second Italian player today who has his story so far to tell. Welcome. This is EPFA News. We begin this EPFA news reliving the fantastic opportunity that the Federazione Italiana Paralimpica Power Chair Sport orchestrated to promote power chair football at the recent Sanremo Music Festival, with Zlatan Ibrahimovic joining Donato Grande on the stage for a demonstration and a swapping of a power chair football and jerseys. The subsequent media coverage was massive publicity for power chair football in Italy.
Passarti la palla e vuole che sia tu a passare la palla a lui e quindi...
Ok, pronto? Fai meglio il passaggio di quelli di mia squadra, eh?
We catch up now with the main star of the show, fresh from all his other media appearances.
Buongiorno a tutti, mi chiamo Donato Grande, sono il delegato regionale Puglia della Federazione Italiana Paralimpica Power Chair Sport, nonché anche capitano del mio club ASD Oltre Sport Puglia. La Federazione Italiana Paralimpica Power Chair Sport ha avviato da più di un anno un lavoro che porterà sicuramente nel più breve tempo possibile a creare un vero e proprio movimento del power chair football in Italia. Questo loro lavoro costante ha permesso pochi giorni fa che io fossi presente al più importante festival italiano, ossia quello di Sanremo. L'obiettivo della mia performance era quella di lanciare la nazionale italiana di power chair football e nello stesso tempo quello di sensibilizzare gli sport per persone con disabilità ed abbattere tutti quei pregiudizi che possono essere presenti nelle menti delle persone normoabili. La mia performance si è concentrata su dei gesti atletici che facessero comprendere che il nostro sport è uno sport vero e che è calcio alla pari del calcio che siamo abituati a guardare in TV. Ringrazio la Federazione Italiana Paralimpica per il grande supporto e sostegno e per il lavoro che svolge, e ringrazio tutto il mio team della SD Oltre Sport e in particolar modo i tecnici che dal 2018 ad oggi mi hanno permesso di allenarmi e di migliorare le mie performance tecnico-tattiche in questa disciplina sportiva meravigliosa. Grazie. A tal proposito vi presento uno dei tecnici dello staff della ASD Oltre Sport.
Buongiorno a tutti, sono Domenico Di Gennaro e faccio parte dello staff tecnico alla ASD Oltre Sport. L'associazione sta mettendo a disposizione tutte le proprie conoscenze a favore del movimento italiano del Power Chair Football, della FIPS. Il gesto atletico di Donato al Festival di Sanremo, lo scambio di passaggi con Zlatan Ibrahimovic, è frutto di allenamenti continui che seguono fasi diverse, dalla familiarizzazione con il mezzo, con la carrozzina, alla comprensione del gesto tecnico riportato poi in un contesto di gioco. E la pandemia non ha fermato la nostra attività, ci ha portato a migliorare le nostre conoscenze riguardo il regolamento e a formarci dal punto di vista tattico, anche seguendo quelli che sono i match giocati nel mondo del Power Chair e rielaborarli poi seguendo il credo tattico oltre sportivo. Ringrazio l'EPFA e la FIFA per questa opportunità. L'augurio per questo 2021 è di riprendere il più presto possibile con il calcio giocato e ne approfitto per salutare tutte le federazioni.
Io invece auspico di poter portare avanti un lavoro continuo di tutto il movimento con l'EPFA e con la FIFA al fine di raggiungere nel più breve tempo possibile gli alti livelli degli altri paesi europei, ma non solo. Grazie.
We drop in on another official from our sport to hear how he got involved at the beginning and find out more about his approach to refereeing mainstream and power chair football.
Hi, I've been involved with the power chair football since 2016 when Eric, the Finnish coach, called me and asked me to come to Helsinki and see the practice games that they had in there. And at the same time I met Martin Beaven, and we spent a weekend in there having practice games and getting used to the players and the game and what it is to be a referee during those games. So, and I was hooked at once. What excites me in the sport are the fast and intense games. Every single game you have to be focused 110%. You cannot lose your focus at any time, because otherwise it could be a goal, it's not a goal, or there was a strike or not a strike. So that's what I like about the sports, and of course everything that is around during, for example, the game weekends. There are a lot of people and everybody's happy all the time. And what excites me is, of course, the players, the coaches, the co-referees, the staff that has put together game weekends. So it's like one big family all the weekend, and that excites me, and it's a lovely sport. And what is the difference? And what is the difference between football and power football? For me is the intense of power football games. In there I like when everything happens much faster than in regular football. So that is almost the most important thing for me, that you have to be so focused in power football games comparing to running football. What do I want? What do I want to achieve in the sport is actually being a good referee, learning more about the referee work, getting to be a good referee without mistakes, of course. And from personal side, help to develop the sports in any way I can. And then there's, of course, the cooperation between the players and the referees. Those are the most important things from my side. The game that I have been enjoying most of refereeing so far, I've actually enjoyed every single game that I have been able to referee. But there's one game that I remember was very exciting game, and it was in Tampere, where there was FC Inter and TPV from Tampere playing against each other. And there was one player, Essi, who was a couple of times close to the goal, and at the end I had to give her the very first yellow card to her, and he came after the game. He came to thank me about the yellow card. So that is one rememberable game from all the games. Well, my free time and hobbies for the last 1.5 years when it's been tough. So actually it's summer times fishing, boating, winter times a little bit skiing when it's possible. Otherwise the time goes fixing up stuff, tractor, house, cars, that type of thing. So that takes the free time. Players that I admire are actually all the players that are involved in power football. There are 3 players that stand out from all the players. One is from England, John Bowling, who I met several years ago when I was visiting the first time in England, and we had good conversations about the play games, and of course he was also helping me and getting me tips how a referee should behave in the play field. And the second one is the Finnish player Essi Maria, the player that I gave the first yellow card. It's always has always been good to see the excitement that she has for the games. And the third person is Maria Gomez, who I met a couple of years ago in Spain when I was refereeing their practice games, and I got the chance to meet her, and she is so much energized and she's so positive person that she has stand out from all these people. Well, we have had some difficult times for the last 1.5 years, of course, here and all around the world, and I have been trying to keep myself safe and the family. At the beginning of Corona, there was a lockdown in here and everything seemed to go quite low and nothing happened. But then when suddenly everything started to open and the business started to rolling again, so after that, most of the time goes at work nowadays, which is actually good. But the most important thing is to keep everybody safe, including myself, and hope that this Corona will be over quite fast for all of us. So everybody else, remember to keep it safe.
EPFA are very pleased to launch the Club Twinning initiative that was proposed at the January workshops, and we are pleased to announce here our first twinned clubs. From England, Leeds Powerchair Football Club and Lothian Wolves from Scotland. Let's hear now from both clubs and a little bit of what they hope to achieve from the sharing initiative.
Basically, what we're doing this evening is we're going to have a quick chat about why Leeds PFC and the Lothian Wolves have come together to form the first of the EPFA twins. So we've got Stephen Miller, Paul Gorman, myself, and Helen Chappell, who is the chair at LPFC. So what the kind of things we're going to look at? I suppose good practice is going to be up there. So we're going to look at how we work at Leeds and how things work at Lothian Wolves, and see if we can share some of that good practice that we both feel that we've both got, and hopefully what we can share will give the players a much better experience, will give coaches a better experience. But because we've got two differing governing bodies, it'll be interesting to compare and contrast as we go forward. So that's one of the first things we want to do.
So coaching ideas, I think we're looking forward to being able to share ideas about coaching, how sessions are planned, the type of sessions that you put on, how you go about your training, and how you get the players involved and how you keep them engaged. So that's something I'm really keen to work to get together on. So
club administration of how we run a club on the administration side of it. I suppose in different countries, there's going to be different practices of how things are run. So it'd be good to share ideas on how we can do things differently.
For sure. And then obviously we've got things such as sharing ideas for fundraising. Obviously, different countries do it in different ways, but if there's ways that we can actually help each other out. So yeah, just funding ideas really. What we can do to help each other, I suppose.
And there's always different funding ideas, different events that people can organise.
Who knows? We might be able to do some European funding as well. Look at bringing some funding in, a joint venture.
I think a big one, certainly from the players' perspective, is arranging tours and going down to hopefully Leeds and playing some games with you guys or hosting you guys up here in Edinburgh. I think the players particularly are really looking forward to it. I think from a development perspective, I think it's a really, really, really good idea. So that's something as a team we're really looking forward to try and implement it when we can. So
I think the players all want to get out and about and see different places and meet different people all the time. So that'll be a good opportunity.
Player development, I think, is going to be an interesting one as well, about how we can build player development. So, for instance, we've got a coaching program at our club, and it'd be interesting to share it and see how it works with yourselves, with the different players at different levels. Because I think when we've conversed before, we've been quite clear that we're at two different levels almost. We're fairly established. You guys are relatively new to it all in that context, especially with the chairs as well, because that's made a massive difference, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I think going through that transition, how you guys go from that level to reach the next level, and how you can get them all together so to keep them all focused, but improving them at a steady rate so that they can all reach what the goal they want to reach to. So.
And now, the equipment, looking at that, we'll be able to share equipment that we're not using and pass it on to other clubs so that they're not just being put in a storeroom and not used again. I think at Leeds we've got spare chairs that we'd like to pass on to other clubs so that they're not put on the scrap heap.
That would be amazing for the Wolves as well. Be able to have that access to extra chairs and extra equipment, because it's just something we don't have that luxury of at present. It's particularly to recruit new players or to come in to get them to try the sport. A lot of the players use their own chairs, and we only have maybe one or two spare chairs that players can use to try the game out. So to be able to access that sort of would be excellent for us.
Obviously, we've talked about in the past about maybe trying to get some social events together. I suppose they'll come on the back of tours and things, really, won't they?
Well,
yes, but that'll be part of it.
Yeah.
Entertainment afterwards.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the big one.
Yeah. And I think, as you touched on earlier, Stephen, that idea of retaining and recruiting players, being able to share equipment and ideas. And, I'm quite happy to come up and have a little jolly in Scotland, vice versa, if need be, to do a little bit of coaching and see if we can get some new players and introduce new players to the game. I think it's a brilliant idea. And then one of the last things we talked about was personal development for players as well, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think, as you were saying just before we sort of came on, was talking about empowering players with things other than just football, giving them something a little bit more. And I suppose the MPALS scheme, when that comes online, will be another good way of getting players to share ideas and develop new friendships and new partnerships as well. So I'm really excited at the prospect of moving this forward. And as you said, we've already had our first online session, which went down really, really well. I know our guys at Leeds really enjoyed themselves.
Communicating with each other, isn't it? And not just sharing ideas on the pitch, but sharing my ideas off the pitch of, I don't know, how you're comfy in your chair, or how different ways of moving your chair. So there's a lot of items that you can discuss with each other.
So
It's a really good point, actually. Yeah.
What kind of age range have you got, Stephen, at your club?
Oh, so we've got them from teenage. I think the youngest is about 15, and then the oldest is probably mid-30s.
Because we've got quite a good mix, haven't we, Helen? We've got some very, very young players, you know, sort of 8-9-year-olds.
Oh, really?
Yeah, as young as that. So there's an experience that we could possibly look again to share with yourself going forward.
Absolutely, because if how do we go about that if we recruit players of that age? Do we adapt training to suit them? And so that kind of thing, to speak to you about that and how you go about that would be excellent.
Yeah, because you have to. The younger they are, the different coaching aspects you have to go down.
Very
absolutely
different. And equipment as well. It makes a huge difference with the equipment, because all the chairs are generally built for adults. So being able to adapt your chairs to make sure that they're meeting the needs of very young players as well is quite wonderful. I think that's about it really from us, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that covered all bases. Yeah,
I think it's all covered.
Your national organisation of Power Chair Football has the expression of interest form for your club to become part of this initiative, and more details can be got by contacting EPFA too. We are back in Scotland once again with another of those players with longevity who has seen it all since the beginning in his country and still has that hunger to achieve.
I first got involved in power chair football when I seen one of my friends going to power chair football training. The nearest club was Clyde in Glasgow. I was nervous about going myself, but thanks to Margaret Blackwood, that has given me the confidence to go by myself and to keep going. I have been doing power chair football now for about 10 to 12 years. My club I play with now is South Ayrshire Tigers. So eventually we set up South Ayrshire Tigers Club from myself, Colin and Gordon. I find power chair football exciting, especially the competitive side of things. I enjoy the training too, but I prefer playing the actual games and the competitive side of the power chair football games. Well, I'm usually goalkeeper or defender, so I don't score many goals at all. But my most favourite match was the first one I played for with South Ayrshire Tigers, which was a very proud moment for myself and the rest of the team. And my favourite match was the first time most people was in strike force chairs apart from myself. I'm still in my home chair, normal chair, but I can still keep the goals out and defend, so that's a proud moment. I would like to achieve in this sport. I would like to play at the international level, hopefully one time, and to get myself a strike force chair. But it's quite difficult because I need a seating system, so it'd be a lot of work and resources to try and get myself a strike force chair. The players I admire are Kieran Barnes and James Doole. Kieran Barnes has helped a lot of people with power chair football, and James Doole has helped me especially. One time I was going through a bad spell with power chair football. I nearly quitted it totally, but thanks to the help of James helped me keep going, and I'm a better person and a better player thanks for the help of James Doole. I like to go out with my friends, and I watch a lot of sport. For 2021, I would like to get back to playing power chair football, and for everything to get back to some kind of normality.
Our next sport of call is again Italy, as we meet another player from the Ultra Sport Club and hear about his progression in the sport.
Ciao a tutti, sono Troco di Pasquale, ho 21 anni e vengo dall'Italia. Sono un attaccante dell'Oltre Sport, una squadra di Power Chair Football. Sì, ho iniziato a Sì, ho iniziato a praticare questo sport nel 2019, dove ho conosciuto appunto questa attività grazie a degli amici che adesso ormai sono diventati i miei compagni di squadra. Mi ci sono subito trovato bene, cimentato già da subito, e quindi il primo approccio è stato veramente una cosa fantastica, sia perché è una novità, sia perché a me piace praticare sport. Sì, la cosa che Sì, la cosa che mi entusiasma di più, quindi che riguardo la pratica del powerchair football, è che non potendo praticare qualsiasi sport a causa di una malattia che mi costringe a vivere 24 ore su 24 su una carrozzina elettrica, però nonostante questo, siccome io sono un amante dello sport, soprattutto del calcio, appena ho appunto saputo di questo nuovo sport, ovvero il powerchair football, mi ci sono cimentato già da subito, e quindi adesso non solo posso guardare questo sport, soprattutto il calcio, ma adesso posso anche finalmente praticarlo. Sì, sì, i risultati che vorrei raggiungere più che altro sono delle ambizioni, perché nonostante il periodo di difficoltà che stiamo vivendo, vorrei comunque tornare a giocare subito, e vorrei iniziare appunto un campionato nazionale, perché con la squadra che abbiamo fondato non abbiamo ancora incominciato a fare un campionato, soprattutto perché mi piace questo sport, voglio praticarlo, voglio incontrare altra gente, voglio viaggiare per l'Italia, ma non solo, perché vorrei anche partecipare alle partite internazionali che ormai vedo tutti i giorni. Sì, il ricordo più bello è stato proprio quello del primo allenamento, della prima conoscenza dei miei compagni di squadra, dei mister, del presidente, e quindi questo è stato il mio ricordo più bello che vorrei ricordare anche a voi. Vorrei rendervi partecipi. Sì, io mi ispiro. Io mi ispiro a un giocatore di Powerchair Football che è il capitano della squadra inglese, ovvero John Bolding, il quale ho conosciuto attraverso i video, quindi attraverso i suoi video della sua nazionale inglese, e quindi grazie ai suoi video ho iniziato anche a capire meglio i movimenti da fare con la carrozzina, i movimenti quindi da fare per praticare questo sport a livello importante dal punto di vista tattico. Sì, le speranze. Sì, le speranze per il 2021 sono innanzitutto tornare a giocare, perché in questo momento critico che stiamo vivendo, anche se stiamo facendo gli allenamenti di tattica attraverso Skype, vorrei però, è sempre più bello tornare ad allenarsi sul campo e non vedo l'ora quindi di ricominciare subito ad allenarmi di nuovo con i miei compagni e a viaggiare per l'Italia. Grazie a tutti per questa intervista. Alla prossima. Forza oltre sport.
Remember, get in contact with EPFA News at the email below, and until next time, take care.